Notes on a meeting held during the Secretary-General's visit to Peking, May 1, 1979. Present. The Secretary-General. HE Vice Premier Deng Xiaoping of the People's Republic of China. HE Vice Foreign Minister Chang Wensheng. Of the People's Republic of China. 2 officials of the Foreign Ministry. Mr. Rafuddin Ahmed. Mr. Ferdinand Meyerhofer-Grunbuhl. Mr. François Giuliani. Referring to the Secretary-General's next stop on this trip, namely the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, Vice Premier Deng said that this country was not well understood abroad. People said that there was tension on the Korean peninsula, but this was not at all the case. Equally, the rumors that the Soviet Union has established military bases in the DPRK was not true. The Secretary-General then inquired about the Vice Premier's views on the situation in Indochina. Mr. Deng said that the Chinese position had already been explained to the Secretary-General by Foreign Minister Huang Hua and Prime Minister Hua Guofeng, and that this was really only a courtesy visit. But he went on to say that he had known the Vietnamese leaders for many years and he had experienced that one should never believe what they said. During Vietnam's struggle against the United States, it had totally relied on China for ammo, food, and clothing. The hostile position which Vietnam later took toward China could only be called perfidious. Negotiations between the two countries would certainly be marathon in length. Vietnam's aim was the creation of the impression that there was a relaxation of tension in the north so that it could concentrate on Kampuchea. They did not want to negotiate seriously. When the Secretary-General interjected that the Vietnamese leaders must know that it could not win a war against China, the Vice Premier said that they had gotten swollen heads and thought themselves invincible. But he also, admittedly, did not understand the Vietnamese attitude. When the Secretary-General mentioned the apprehension of the ASEAN countries with regard to Vietnam, the Vice Premier said that the Chinese operation had a specific and limited objective. In the first place, it was designed to create more restraint on the side of Vietnam. Asked by the Secretary-General about the theory of an Indo-Chinese Federation, Mr. Thanks Deng said that Vietnam executed the Soviet plans for the establishment of an Asian collective security system. This was an old scheme which, however, had been shelved because none of the countries had responded to this idea. Now, after its successes in Afghanistan and Vietnam, the Soviet Union pulled it out again. In the wider scope of this scheme, there was a plan to include at least some of the ASEAN countries, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore as well as Burma. Once Vietnam had established complete control in Laos and Kampuchea, it would concentrate on Thailand, etc. This would not necessarily be done by force but also through threats and by creating trouble and unrest in these countries. Mr. Deng furthermore expanded the Chinese theory of the Soviet advancement in Africa and Asia, which would be linked up in the Molucca Straits. He added that he had advised the United States under no circumstances to normalize relations with Vietnam at this particular time.